1 of 8 billion, down in the mud, strange children, lonely and lost, but we still run. Fight cause we must, we kill and we survive. Poisonous raindrops, we hope for the day when the rain stops. Until then we stay under grain rocks and live with our pain, just trying to stay alive. The sky is falling down, been raining for centuries. They say that it's meant to be, meant to be. But you are not alone, and we're not out of hope. We'll get out of the rain we go. Out of the rain, you know, we're running away from home. No, we can't stay no more. We leave this world behind. Out of the rain, you know, we're running away from home. And no, we can't stay, we're on our way. And then one day we're gone, far beyond the raindrops, far beyond the raindrops. And you know they'll chase us, we gotta hide our traces. And no one can see our faces, and no one can see what we're about to do. The sky is falling down, trapped in reality, on our way to insanity, on our way. But you are not alone, and we're not out of hope. We'll get out of the rain we go. Out of the rain, you know, we're running away from home. No, we can't stay no more. We leave this world behind. Out of the rain, you know, we're running away from home. And no, we can't stay, we're on our way. And then one day we're gone, far beyond the raindrops. Far beyond the raindrops. Far beyond the raindrops.
Yeah. Everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now, I made mistakes but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone, that's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. Here I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off as friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled.
It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone.
Y'all give me just a second to finish getting these charts set up and sharing these links. I'm gonna keep jamming while I do it, that's fine.
Yeah, let's go. I don't wanna break down, always feel like I could break now, but I never let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way to even when I'm feeling down. I fight, even when I don't know what is right. I'ma pick a side and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shake me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan.
It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside.
Alright, let's see here. Good morning, all. If there's any specific tickers y'all want me to go over, throw them in the chat. I've got a few that people... Hey, morning, Joe. I've got a few that some people were asking about yesterday that I'm definitely going to cover, and then we're just going to do a quick overview on a few things. Like Stevie asked, we're going to go through a couple of learning opportunities here too. Let's see. Keep in mind today we do have the Fed interest rate decision in FOMC, so that's going to play with some of the stock movement to be expected, but we'll see. So MU, definitely cover MU. Real quick on Bitcoin. So I wanted to touch base on this. You can see Bitcoin completed this last measured move perfectly and tagged that level. We're still playing out the bullish movement on the cup and handle, which is going to put it somewhere in that 112 to 120k range. That being said, that doesn't mean that it's done once it hits there either. It can keep going beyond. That was a conservative measurement that I had. So this right here, this moved to about 112. That's actually the bull flag breakout from right down here. We're still playing all this out, man. Crypto's still hella bullish. It's going to keep being bullish into 2025, so it's looking solid right now. I'm going to look at MicroStrategy real quick because a couple of people know that I jumped into a lotto call on it yesterday, and we'll see whether that turns out in my favor or burns me. It's not something I alerted because I knew the risk on this thing when I entered it. But yeah, I want to see if it bounces that trend there and if it moves higher. And this was one that typically I wouldn't recommend jumping in something at the spot I did on this. However, that being said, I've got a vibe on crypto and I was expecting some movement to come in the coming day or two. So we'll see if we hold that same support range and rip back up to over 400 like we did previously. Jump over to MU real quick for Joe. So yeah, last night, Joe, we were talking about MU. You're asking what's going on here. So here's what I'm watching on MU, and I'm not actively in a trade right now. I think I exited all my MU previously, but you've got this nice breakout of downtrend going on here. So what ideally I would like to see with that breakout, which actually would have confluence here with that gap fill level, would be a back test of this before continuation upside. I'm not saying that that'll for sure happen, and also we can still have downward breaks here. But yeah, just calling it out. Like, we do have a break of trend and a falling wedge going on there, so that's good. But I mean, normally on these setups, you can phase into a longer call position if you wanted, or on something like this. I don't love that there's two gaps sitting so close to where the current range is. So, hey, Cybercash, yeah, I'll cover Broadcom and Litecoin. See, so yeah, watching these levels, like I said, I'd like to see a backfill and a gap fill right there at that 103.20 level before upward movement. But if it can get some nice big volume candles, and they do have earnings today, then earnings in after hours or pre-market? After hours. It's not really moving yet. So yeah, earnings is looking like it's going to be a catalyst that pushes it one way or another. I mean, I would personally, if it was me and I was wanting to go long on this, I would wait until after earnings. For one, you'll get a direction on what's going on there. But also, you can benefit by jumping into some calls to get IV crushed. So it can be beneficial for you. And if the video stream is funky or weird or not clear for anyone that's watching or listening in, click your setting thing and change it to 1080p on YouTube, and it'll be clear. Going ahead and calling that out. Yeah, I'll hit Dell for you too. We go Broadcom real quick. It's still, I bet, playing. Yeah, it's still playing out the bullish setup that I did not trade because I was just watching it and didn't want to test earnings. it looks like it's getting some retracement, which is good and needed. Broadcom will be interesting because the Fed interest rate decision is going to have a make or break impact. Not so much like what the interest rate's going to do today, because the odds are, as of right now, they're going to cut interest rates by like 0.25. But more so, what people are looking at is how many interest rate cuts are going to be on the dot grid for next year, because it's looking more and more based off the data yesterday like we're going to have maybe 3 optimistically, but yeah, we'll see. They may actually pull it back some. So yeah, levels are still intact on Broadcom. It had the breakout. We'll see if it ever fills that gap or if it kind of maintains here and continues bullish continuation upside. But the measured move, here real quick, like 35% following the breakout. That may have been the measured move actually already. It actually moved more if you're wanting to measure based off that spot, which would be the proper spot, but I'll measure based off here just for the sake of it. And notice how it's like right around that 35%. It may reverse in that range. We'll see what happens. I'm personally not actively trading Broadcom at the moment, so I'll keep watching it and see what happens. Dell real quick. So Dell I've been watching the last few days too, because I want to see whether it can hold this range and bounce and move back up to fill that gap, or if it's gonna kind of hang tight where it is. But right now it's consolidating, and unfortunately that looks like another bear flag, so we'll see what happens there. Yeah, one line here as well. So yeah, that's the levels I'm watching on Dell. It's not in a great spot one way or the other at the moment. I mean, it technically broke this uptrend to the downside. It's testing that support range, but we'll see whether it consolidates and keeps moving there. Let me jump over to Litecoin for you real quick. Yeah, I mean, Litecoin, just like I said on Bitcoin and others, like you've got this consolidation going on here, but overall you're going to have massive bullish continuation on a lot of these cryptos into 2025. Like, look at the range of movement that we can have on Litecoin here, and that's without even hitting new all-time highs. So definitely not a bad spot to start pursuing Litecoin if you want more longs. I know that we got in longs on Litecoin back in here. That doesn't mean you can't enter now. Like, these retracements like this are excellent spots for long entries. If you're going to hold crypto long term, do so on a cold storage wallet. Do not leave it sitting on exchange wallets. Let's see. Viking Therapeutics for Stevie. And Stevie, this is, like I said, this is one that it's going to move very weird compared to what y'all are used to on other stuff, because this is biopharma stock that basically it'll either chill in the range or it'll rip out to the upside. So like right here, we've got a break to the downside, but it's approaching that next trend level. Let me see. So yeah, it's still moving down, and like I was saying yesterday, I wanted to see if it could hold that range or if it broke and lost it and goes down to 38. It looks like it's gonna head down to 38. This is why I stayed in a small position and didn't add really like heavy or anything like that to this. And this is also why I don't really love trading biopharma stocks, just because, especially this one, they can be really wacky. Yeah, I'm gonna add the chart to the subfolder. I'll also reorganize them. I started to shift them around. Like, that was a really good idea. I don't know why I didn't already do that, but sorting them alphabetically, I will do that. Working on it today. That way it makes it easier to find them. I mean, yeah, you could exit if you wanted on that. Let me see what the current, what's my cost basis. I'm conflicted on staying in them personally, but yeah, no. I'm conflicted on staying in them personally. Like, usually on our higher risk trades like this, I ride them out. And while I don't think I learned this one as a true lotto, these biopharma stocks kind of are hit or miss. But you can see, like, here in a single day, Viking Therapeutics back in February caught some news, and it literally went from 57 to $90. So, like, they can make same thing here. We had like this massive big move. So I've got till February on the ones I'm in. My average right now is higher than you. It sounds like you averaged down some. I'm at 340. So, and they'll probably be worth like 120 today, so I'll be hella down. But that's why I've been patiently waiting to average down if I needed to. Once I saw a reversal, and right now I'm not seeing a reversal, so I'm just gonna take it and kind of ride with it at the moment. I'm not recommending everyone do that necessarily. Like, you gotta decide when to cut losses and just decide where you can put that capital elsewhere, basically. But yeah, that's what's going on there. Nvidia is trying to retake the trend that we were talking about yesterday, and that's what I was looking for, is the confirmation of retaking that trend. As long as it can hold during the market hours today and the Fed interest rate news doesn't try to slap it back down. Here, I'll do it on 4 hour. You can see yesterday, show you. So this is what me and Chris were talking about, where like I was wanting to see a hold of this support range, and you can see it held that 128.50 range. I had that yellow line there. It bounced there, retraced, and then it held and consolidated there and tried to form that flag. So that was the intraday bull flag we had going on. And it looks like we may have actually completed that measured move now. So watching this, like I was saying, like I'm not trading calls or puts on Nvidia at the moment. I have maintained my shares, but I will be looking for opportunities here to sell covered calls against my shares again to hedge. I really wanted to see it retake that trend. I wasn't loving that we lost that trend, but I'm also treading carefully here because I do not want to get trapped in a situation where I'm not hedged on my shares and it loses this trend. Because right now this movement today could also play out as a retest of the trend and rejection. So that's why you want to be cautious on setups like this. Keep in mind as well, if you look right here, we're now about to, I'm going to do it on the daily and then we'll zoom in. Because we perfectly, if you look at Nvidia, right, we broke this trend up here, just like kind of similar actually to what we're doing now. So when we broke this previous trend, notice how it broke the trend, it retested back up in here, and then it rejected again, right? So even like right here on, this is a really good example on the 22nd. So it broke trend, bounced that support, went back into trend, and then rejected hard again. And then that's where it completed this move down to the wider range. I remember everyone right here was kind of saying Nvidia's going to new all-time highs. And yeah, this little retracement dead cat bounce thing we got going on here looked like that, but we continued more downside movement. The tariff impact just kind of sucks right now, honestly. And like, I get it, I understand why. I'm still maintaining my shares. I'm not going to bail on them because I'm long on it, but definitely want to tread carefully with the impeding tariffs coming in. So we completed that move. I'm going to go ahead and delete this red downside move since we completed it, just to kind of make it not so muddy here with all the levels. But you can see here, even where I called out, we were watching the test of the 138 or 130.98 support and trend confluence, which is what we had there, and now we're retaking that, right? So that's a critical level for me, is whether or not it holds that larger uptrend or whether it caves and loses it. Because if it does, we're probably going to head down and fill that gap at 119.38. So it's overall, like, I still love Nvidia. I think that there's a lot of promise there, and AI and quantum computing are getting a lot of hype again, but just something you want to tread carefully on. Because like right here, I'm going to move this up, be more conservative. It's about to run smack into another downtrend line. Because currently, while the 5-minute and 15-minute were breaking and kind of reversing, you now have it fighting a potential retest of this larger trend, as well as a retest of this downtrend line here. So Nvidia, I don't really like swinging calls on these types of setups because you've got so many overhead resistance levels in the range that it can push out, sure, yes. But if there's one little news thing or one of these resistance holds, you're stuck in a situation kind of like right over here where, say you entered calls and didn't exit them, you would have been stuck in them now for 3 weeks, and Thea Decay would have smacked the crap out of those call options. So intraday scalps, all for it. Roll with it. Swinging, just the same reason I'm not swinging puts right now or anything on Nvidia. So yeah, I'll look at SQ Stevie. So SQ is trying to continue that bullish continuation that we got for this setup right here, right? So I added to those calls the other day and alerted to them, but right now I want to see it consolidate in this zone and then get a strong volume push to the upside. What did it? Yeah, volume's tapering off with the kind of price retracement, which is good. That's what I'd want to see. Now I want to see big buying volume increase to push out of the range. So we'll see whether that happens or if it pulls back and tests. But the fact that it's holding that 91.64 level is good. It's solid. See, we got Celsius. Celsius and me have a love-hate relationship at the moment. So check this out. And this is what I was talking about yesterday when Matt and I were chatting. Celsius looks like it's trying to hold this uptrend. You can see that it tested the break, but then it held. And if you look here on the 4 hour, it looks like it's going to attempt to bounce. I think, again, the interest rate decision and the Fed news today, more importantly, next year's kind of outlook as well as how hawkish or dovish JP wants to be today is going to be what drives movement on a lot of things today. If we can get some kind of dovish tone, optimistic outlook, we could see a spark for maybe some Santa rally movement into next week. However, if he comes in hawkish, we could see a hard drop on some things. Santa rally is not a given. Like, as much as like I really want it to be, because there's several trades that I'm like, I will throw heavy on a quick scalp or a quick little short dated swing trade on some things that are beat down that could use a benefit of a Santa rally. But I think what you're going to see this go around, just with the way things are looking in the outlook and the concerns over the tariffs, is the Santa rally will potentially impact stocks that people aren't expecting it to impact. So that being said, Celsius right now watching the same range and setup. I want to see if it can bounce, hold trend, and move higher here. Keep in mind that Celsius can rip hard off these levels. We've seen it do it multiple times in the past. So definitely watching Celsius here. Technically, this is exactly the retest I was wanting to see and talking about last week, right? So look, we had breakout of the downtrend, and this is what I was talking about earlier on, I think it was MU. So we broke out of the downtrend, right? And now we have pulled back to retest the trend. And now ideally you bounce and you move higher and rip. So we need buying volume and a catalyst to cause that to happen. So watching Celsius here, we'll see what happens. Lumen looked like it was trying to get its little bounce in yesterday. And it's just chilling in that range, it looks like, at the moment. Pre-market movement, keep in mind, is not like make or break necessarily because it's such low volume. So I'm looking at this mainly on the larger time frame setups right now to see whether things are going to hold or what's going on with the patterns. I don't put too much weighting on pre-market movement. It's good to see where it opens, like when certain stocks open in certain levels or ranges. That's what I look for. So I don't make decisions necessarily before market opens. Same thing with after hours. More so I'm looking to see where it actually opens at 8:30 Central for me. And from there I'll make a decision on what I want to trade. So, let's see. Interesting. Sorry, checking something for work. Now I gotta look at Lucid real quick. So Lucid's looking freaking awesome. 007 Matt was over here kind of kicking himself, I think, for selling his calls when he did. But check this out on Lucid. So it's got this inverse head and shoulders that's playing out beautifully. And this is what I was talking about, where once Lucid gets to moving, like notice even with this volume taper, it's still maintaining nice green days. So it's also closing nicely. So I fully expect, and this is why I added to 2026 calls for Lucid, because they were cheaper than buying shares and get me the same exposure. I think Lucid's going to end up popping off again as it gets back up into this range. Like, we can fly to 4+ easy. Plus, we're kind of fighting it and breaking out of a longer term downtrend and setup here. It's funky because there's so many lines in that range, but let me do this real quick. You can see here, it's going to try to break out. What we need really is to get above that 420 range, and from there, this thing can rip. But that's not strong buying volume, so we'll see what happens. Let's see, got Lucid covered. Pull my list back up. VST was asked. I have not traded Vistra. We'll chart this together. Alright, so I'm going to start on the weekly and mark these levels of support and resistance, and then we'll go from there. So those levels, I'm going to go ahead and mark that as a major. As you can see, there's multiple touch points on the weekly. Same thing there. There, see, this was resistance, then it was support, 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 bounce. So that's the support level. Got one over in here too. So support, support. So map this thing out. I'll switch over to the daily now that I've marked the weekly. Nope. Actually, that may cover most of the levels, at least in this range. So what do I see here? So we've got a potential trend test here, which has confluence with the support level. So it looks like if that breaks, you'd be looking for a move down to 117. If that holds, it's probably going to bounce and move back up. I do want to put a minor resistance right in here, because you can see right there it rejected and moved back down, and then over here that served as a minor resistance as well. So it looks like it's trapped between zones. It's also forming a bit of a head and shoulders there. So be careful on this. It looks like it go either way. It could either be bullish continuation if it can hold this level, get some strong buying volume and move higher, or it could lose this trend and break down and move to 117. But that's definitely the levels I would watch on that Cybercash. BT cruise. Let's see. So this, just like a lot of the crypto stocks, that's what we got going on here, is the movement within the range. That being said, that's a hella consistent lower high setup we got going on, and I dig it. Market this way because that's the most conservative probably, but yeah, BT. So just like a lot of the other crypto stocks, like here's what's going to happen with BT. It's going to chill until all of a sudden it doesn't chill, and it's going to be just like Riot and Mara and all the others, where it's hanging out and then all of a sudden you get these massive big buying candles that come in and it just does some crap like this, right? So that's why I'm staying in my calls, because right now there's not really a bearish setup by any means going on with it. It's just that it's consolidating and riding out. Arguably there's inverse head and shoulders there as well as a cup and handle, but yeah, BT looks like it's trying to ride out. There's a bit of a actual normal head and shoulders there, but not super concerned. Bitcoin's going to be solid until next year, so we're riding that one out right now. Let me look at Riot more. Yeah, same thing here. So we're even the slight retracement and pullback and stuff in pre-market, like we're still riding the range, and if anything, we're just going to make the bullish continuation, I think, at this point. Same thing if you look over at Mara, all these are going to look really similar, but they're kind of teeter-tottering between it. So keep in mind, like all this movement we're dealing with right now in these crypto stocks is kind of like what we had back in October, and then you get some kind of positive catalyst, like Trump getting elected, or all the positive catalysts that Trump's probably going to have related to crypto in 2025. And as soon as you catch one of those positive catalysts, crypto gets a big pop. Specifically, if the miners get any kind of benefits when it comes to tax breaks and stuff, you're going to see big bullish movement for breakouts. So same thing should be going on over here with Mara. That's what we saw in Riot. So it'll chill until all of a sudden it doesn't chill and it flies. So keep in mind that the only reason a lot of these have been throttled, which isn't a bad thing, is because each of the pops, they've been selling off shares through offerings and then buying Bitcoin with it, which is bullish. It's not bad, even though you're going to see some selling because they're selling off from the offering. So, I'll look at Grab in just a second. I do want to take a quick look at a couple of these quantum-based and AI-based stocks real quick that we're in longer-term calls on. So that looks like it's going to bounce at that 145 level for QSI. I think quantum computing is going to be a big focal point in the coming months, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Big Bear. Oh man, Big Bear is just rolling. I love it. Check this out. Whew. Yeah, Big Bear wants to pop off again. If Big Bear can get above 355, it'll rip. So keep an eye on Big Bear. I know we're in those longer term swing calls on it. But yeah, Big Bear's looking awesome right now too. IREN. What got going on here? Yeah, same thing. IREN wants to break out again as well. I gotta look at GameStop real quick because those calls banked yesterday on GameStop, and it wants more bullish continuation. I love it. So yeah, that's looking good on GameStop. For those that aren't aware, GameStop's actually breaking out of a very bullish setup here. Check this out. That is a beautiful bullish pennant breakout. Once it gets above 32.16, or is it 32.12, which was the previous high of this pennant, this sucker can really rip. So keep in mind that the news from their earnings was positive, that they are now operating in the black. So especially in this zone, you see that increasing volume on the daily. Yeah, all it takes is one roaring kitty tweet, and this thing will blow through that supply zone. So watching this, I'm not saying we're going to 40 plus. That being said, I'm not saying we're not either, because y'all know how GameStop moves once it gets moving. So definitely going to be watching that. It's got the bullish breakout at the moment. We'll see what happens. What is Grab? Grab Holdings? I'm not trading Grab, but I'm curious. I like the bullish setup, I can tell you that. So let me do this. That bull flag's sweet. And what bull flag am I talking about? This one. Or I shouldn't say bull flag, I should say bullish pennant in this instance, but either way, looking bullish. So I mean, you can draw it as a pennant like this. If it breaks out of that pennant, I'd be drawing that like a flag too, to see how that plays out. But as of right now, like, yeah, that's a nice little setup, Stevie. Big Bear worth getting into now. Let's see. Like, here, hold on. Yep. Like I said yesterday, we entered a bunch of swing calls and stuff on Monday. However, I'm wanting to be very careful about swing entries with today having the Fed interest rate decision. So I want to see how that plays out and impacts things. Please grab and subchart for Grab. Oh, I was like trying to understand what you were saying, but now I totally understand. Sorry, that's what happens when I only have one cup of coffee so far. Yeah, I will add a Grab channel and the specific tickers, and we will put it in the G's because alphabetical just makes sense. So let me, again, still reordering these. Let me move it up. So adding a Grab channel now so that we have it, and I will go and put this chart in the Grab channel here shortly. Let me do that. So the Grab channel is there now. If you do this, you can see it. So Grab, we've got the channel there, but yeah, I might enter some calls on Grab. What is Grab anyways? I need to know more about the company before actually. I really need to update this computer and get a new computer for this setup. I've got like 3 PCs, so I don't know why I'm even using this one, but it's the throttling is killing me because it's so slow, and I've got gig internet speed, so like there should be no reason for that. Grab holdings. Alright, Steve, you found us a new one to trade. We're gonna rock this thing, so yeah, I'll be looking for some calls to alert on this one today. I like that setup. I'm curious what the little AI thingy is into. Oh yeah, hey! See? Me and the AI tool are on the same page. And again, this is why I use this tool the way I do. So like I'll chart and draw things the way that I know how to chart based off technical analysis and everything, and then I use that tool to confirm stuff. So y'all saw that one live, so now you know I'm not full of crap. But I'm gonna turn that back off because it's in my way. But the measured move for that, I assume it's using the flagpoles, it's measured move. But here, let's check and see for me. So like a 39% move, give or take, is what I would probably mark that as, and I'd be looking for the breakout. No. I tend to be more conservative. I'll do that. So if what's AI tool say? Pretty close. I mean, it's going based off once the bullish pennant breaks out, so it's assuming somewhere right in there. It looks like it's going based off the measurement of the existing thing is how that thing's basing it. So I'm gonna put this right here. Yeah, good call, Stevie. That's a good one to enter. I like that setup, and this is another good example of something that's cheaper overall with a bullish setup. And like this, I'd rather trade this kind of stuff than Nvidia most of the time, honestly. Not just because I think more people can trade it, but also the risk to reward is so much better without exposure to so much theta decay. And I don't think people understand that theta decay on all those bigger tickers is so much harder on you on the premiums than theta decay is on stuff that's like sub $100. So Pepu. Take on Pepu more. This dude bought Pepu and then tried to park it in some kind of random like shady here, I might have to do this. It may not even find it on here. Yeah, because it's not on any of the actual main exchanges yet, dude. I mean, I can look at it on Dex Screener. Yeah, I covered MU at the beginning, Tony. Man, this slow loading mess is just not like happening for me. I'm too impatient with computer things to sit here and wait. Pepu. Poo. Tony said my inner Chase and Joe were right talking about this. Yeah, we talked through that a bit more earlier. See, alright, Moorhead, which one is it, dude? That you're in? Is it the Sol one? Is Unchained one, or is it the actual wrapped Ethereum one that's over on Uniswap? If the other y'all there trying to figure out what the hell I'm talking about. So like this Pepu here, this is on Solana blockchain. This Pepu here is on Ethereum blockchain. How do I know that? Because that is wrapped Ethereum, which is a level 3 or layer 3 kind of decentralized app. So the Uniswap one, oh, it's the Uniswap one here. Dude, like my only thing with those is the gas fees to swap suck. Like they're terrible. And I know that because I did a lot of swapping and trading of Ethereum based meme tokens and coins back in 2020 and 2021. And that's why like nowadays you see me like using a lot of Solana based meme tokens because like it just sucks for gas fees over on Ethereum. But yeah, it's the wrapped Ethereum one. So, man, like I can look at technicals on these. It's this one might have a no, it's not even gonna apply here. So like, yeah, maybe L tier, but I feel like a lot of these kind of meme tokens and coins are gonna be pump and dump or rest. So Steve wants me to talk through strike and expiration. So yeah, here, real quick. So like on Grab, what strike and expirations would I choose on this? Let me look real quick on my phone. It's easier and faster. So typically, I will not trade strikes or expirations that are not within trading range by the expiration date, if that makes sense. So, for instance, where I think a lot of retail traders mess up on something like this is that they look at this and they're like, okay, I'm going to buy some $10 calls, and then they can't understand why, even if Grab was to rip to like $6, their $10 call didn't move. And that's because Greeks, and it's because how far out of the money it is. One thing I do need to check. Okay, I'm glad I checked this. So I didn't realize historically that there actually was, and this is why you need to zoom out and look at the weekly and further back. That being said, still bullish. So I would be watching for a potential rejection or move up in that range rather than that full bullish measured move purely based off the flag there. I would be looking to see if it hits one of these previous highs from this little range here and rejects or not. But to answer your question, I would be looking for something that is currently out of the money on this, but that with the measured move would easily go in the money. So probably like and I don't know what the strikes are on it. That's why I'm pulling it up on my phone real quick. And this is not going to sound as technical and super complex as some might think it may be, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So, the measured move on this bull flag breakout would be like somewhere probably in that 626 plus range, $626 to $7. So that being said, I would probably target some calls minimally for like January would probably be the closest. And I say that because I'm not super familiar with how quickly this thing can move. It looks like it could break out at any time, but also it could consolidate longer. So you have to balance out between going too far out expiration wise and trying to be safe and give yourself time, with the fact that if you go too far out and you get a measured move or a move like this, like let's say we go from 514 right now to 550, if you go too far out, the options premiums aren't going to move enough on those far out contracts to actually justify a significant gain increase. So if I was to trade this, I probably would do something. Wow, they're so cheap, and this is why I love this kind of stuff. I would probably take on a higher risk trade on this, like with the January 17th calls. I mean, you can get 550 calls on this thing right now for like $15 a piece. And if I look at that, so just using the Greeks, it looks like, let's say that, and I'll do it using February and March here in a second, but if I'm looking at the January 17th, 550 calls, if this thing pops back up to like this range here and retest 546, when was that? The 11th. Those calls would basically double in cost or price. So like literally go from like $15 to $20 a piece right now to probably around $40 a piece. So that's 100% gain on something that's like this. So that's why I like trading things like this and these types of setups rather than trading something like Nvidia, because risk to reward, right? So you're talking about risking $20 to gain 100% with a small little subtle move in this range, as compared to risking $300, $500, $1,000, something like that, to trade Nvidia across a range where you're having to hope like hell that when you're asleep overnight somebody doesn't say something random like tariff. So I dig the setup on this. I'll probably, the January calls are nearer term and higher risk, but they're very cheap. So I mean, normally if it's something like this, I would probably pursue like the January call just to trade it based off the short term setup, and then maybe like the April or July calls would be good which they're still cheap. Like you can get in the 550 calls, it looks like, in April for about $50 a piece. And looking at those, they'll go up about they'll go up from about $50 to about $80 a piece. So I mean, that's still 60% gains. Like, that's solid. Good find, Stevie. I'll be alerting some of these today. I mean, ideally, so like just to clarify too, ideally on this type of setup, you would be wanting to enter once you have confirmation of the breakout of the bull flag. That being said, it's cheap enough on these contracts that I would probably just risk phasing in now, and that's what I'm going to do because I like the setup. So I'll go ahead and start easing lightly into call positions on either those January 550 calls or the April 550 calls. And just to clarify too, like I'm saying 550 because those are like very likely going to go in the money if this thing gets a breakout. You could take on more risk and you could go higher up and hope for like the $6 ones, which would probably yield a higher percentage gain, but then you're at the mercy of hoping that this breakout fully plays out and fighting each of those resistance levels. Whereas if you enter the 550 calls instead, you only have one resistance level and you're in the money. And those calls, once they go in the money, the premiums are going to double. So that's why I like the 550 on that setup. I'm glad you brought this one up. This is why I like when people bring up different tickers overall, especially in the kind of, sub $50 price range. This thing's borderline a penny stock by penny stock definitions because it's almost under $5. So I don't know. I wish more people in the retail crowd would understand you can trade stocks like this and still make huge gains. You don't have to put your entire portfolio in a single larger ticker contract to actually make gains. So grab looking good. Let's see, we got 10 minutes on market open. Oh, Teams message, hold up. Fun. Always fun. Joe, was a screenshot she just gave us. Joe shared this thing based on the assumption of what's going to happen with the targeted moves with the FOMC rate decision today. Tony, you wouldn't put RGTI calls on your watch list and your monitor room? Yeah. You gotta trust your gut, right? Me and you both. Because that one was one that I actually, as I was waiting for my wife to finish that marathon this weekend, I had targeted several RGTI calls that I was going to add to. Yeah, for sure, Stevie. You're welcome. And then I'm kicking myself now for not buying them because I knew that it had bullish continuation setup going on, and then it just kept on ripping yesterday. So I also remember looking over on Unusual Wells and seeing the $11 calls, and somebody was loading the freaking boat on them, and now I understand why. So yeah, like that setup on RGTI, sweet. It is getting back up into this range here, it looks like. And for those that aren't aware, quantum computing stock. So yet another reason why I'm saying quantum computing is the hot thing at the moment. So expect a lot of bullish momentum with a lot of these quantum computing stocks. I started phasing into a few myself. It's my setup that I love. Yeah, it is, Tony. But I've got to start to make a list over here with AI stocks, and I need to add some quantum computing stocks with this and make a separate list. But sounds one that was like getting a good beat down yesterday, and I was going to add to it, but I was waiting for consolidation to see what happens. Palantir, we traded some fresh calls on that yesterday and made bank, but I'm watching here to see if it can play out this setup. It's still in bullish continuation. By the way, anybody can access these. Let me find the share, not the settings, the share. I'll drop it into the live stream chat too, so y'all have it, because y'all can actually go access those. Like once you land in there, I think it's going to open for Tesla, and then you can kind of click on the watch list over on the side. I've got all my watch lists visible, and once you click on them, you can see the levels of the chart. But I went through and mapped a few of these. Like ARM was looking like it wanted to do something, but then I didn't want to fight this crap. And this is what I was talking about, where you have to be careful with these like larger term downtrends, because like right here, this one looked like bullish and everybody got hyped and they went heavy on it, and it got that one day pop above and everybody's like, confirmation, we broke out of the downtrend. No, ARM had different ideas and it rejected back under. So that's why you want to wait for the confirmation candle and the follow through on the daily and weekly on something like that. But definitely some good movement. Datadog's another one that I've been watching. I want to see if this bull flag plays out or not. But the calls on this thing were pricey. I was looking at them and trying to make a decision whether or not risk to reward was worth it for me. I'm going to wait personally for now. AI's one that this thing just the gift that keeps on giving. So definitely one that if we get a pullback, I'm probably going to add some new calls to. It's been treating us well for the setup so far. You look on the weekly, this thing's still pulling and pushing, so it's trying to go back up to the 4850 range. I need to add to my calls on that. Let's see. Oh, I didn't add all those yet. Crypto stocks, we already talked through this, but what's MicroStrategy doing in free market? It's still like getting slammed. It wants to show life for me, which it's all contingent on this right here. And I'm not stressing at all about that. Like, I know there's head and shoulders there, but also I'm looking at the volume profile, understanding what's going on from the larger time frame here. So if you look at the daily, like that, it's going to need to pull back, consolidate. I'm good with even pulling back to this range here for the 101 again before it moves higher. And I still haven't sold any of my crypto, and I don't plan on. Honestly, I've had several people ask, when are you going to sell? I'm probably not going to sell this bull run. Honestly, on most of my crypto, I've held since 2017 on a lot of it. So for me, I know that the future's going to be bright, and it's one of those things that I don't want to look back 10 years from now and be like, wow, I really wish I would have held that. So I'll keep riding all my crypto stuff. XRP is one that, again, I want people to be careful on, because while this bullish breakout's happening here, and while it did have its stablecoin launch yesterday, the wallets I was seeing just still don't set well with me. And I was talking to someone else that's big into crypto about that last week, and they agree, and they're seeing something very similar on XRP and some others. So notice here, one big thing y'all can do going forward on XRP, but honestly any crypto, is be aware of sell the new situations where you can hedge and buy leverage short futures. So XRP, oh man, it moved my thing when I did that. XRP had their stablecoin launch yesterday, and notice how it tanked right after. 60-minute interview right here, tanked right after. So it's not Saturday Night Live Doge level of drop after, but those are great opportunities to hedge and trade short on some of these things, whether it's XRP or others, because when that news comes in, typically that's going to impact things. But see what other, Nvidia. I touched on Nvidia at the beginning of the video. If you jump back, I do need to touch on Tesla real quick and show y'all, so y'all can be aware of that. So what did Tesla do? Tesla basically almost perfectly completed this measured move that I had marked on the larger time frame for the inverse head and shoulders on the weekly. And that was the pattern I've been talking about for a while now. Now I'm faced with the decision of whether or not I need to sell heavier covered calls on my shares, which I should have done yesterday, honestly, because it looks like it's getting smacked a bit in pre-market. It's crazy because like you see that and it's like, oh, it's not really moving much, but in reality that's like a $20 drop. But that measured move played out perfectly, but you can see it played out. So that's why I'm treading carefully on Tesla. And like I mentioned on other videos, I'm not actively trading calls or puts on Tesla here. I'm just riding my shares and selling covered calls to hedge when I see us hit key points like this. So I'm not saying you can't make gains on calls by any means, but for me, risk to reward, I'm not doing that when I can park my capital elsewhere. So yeah, I like that. I dig it. Tesla's been highly profitable long term. And like Tony said, please remember to like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. Let's see. Stevie asked, Chart Vikings. So Stevie, one thing to keep in mind with Viking is similar to, and sorry, trying to figure out how to formulate the wording on this so that it makes some sense. These biopharma stocks like this, the charts are going to be wacky and look a bit different and not have as conventional technical movement as what you may see on a lot of those other tickers that we went through. So while the technicals and stuff on here, I definitely map those out and I check those and I monitor them. The biopharma stocks are just weird. It's the same thing on quite a few of the others that we've traded over the last year in the bio realm. They either basically are chilling or they just do these massive huge candles when they have some kind of FDA approval or something. So it's, while the weekly and stuff and the mapping of that helps some, that's why you're seeing the big gaps and price jumps. Sorry, I didn't read your full comment before I started talking, but yeah, to answer your question, basically, yeah, what I don't know if I subconsciously read that or what, but basically that's what I just spoke to. So that's where a lot of that weird movement's coming from. It's just the nature of this kind of stuff. Plus, this one's got some kind of meme stock focus going on. ATAI. Oh, the market opens in 1 minute. We gotta go take our money. Yeah, let me do this. That one looks like it's catching a bit of a bottom. So this one I will map and chart and then post it in a channel for you. That way I can wrap up the session before the market opens. That way we can actually go take gains on some of these things that we swung. Yeah, for sure, Stevie. And like, let's keep doing this. I'll keep finding, y'all keep bringing up stocks to do examples and to map out and chart from basics, and we'll do it. I think it's a good learning opportunity for everyone involved, including myself. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the live stream. Thank y'all for kind of joining in. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be greatly appreciated. Let's go make those gains.